Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Ringru. Hello, hello, hello.
And folks, happy New Year to you all. We are celebrating that with a real bang today on Kozatritsa. Rang, who do we have? What are they bringing?
On left hand side in the blue, we have Mimile playing 17% with a Juggernaut income. Right hand side in red, we have Yuyu playing Army Karaja with a V for victory income.
So V for victory, what the heck is going on here? We don't see this. There's no reason for this.
Yeah, same for Juggernaut. He's a very memey picks for their income, not the, Maverick, Vanguard balance trio we're usually used to. So I'd be curious to see how this goes. I mean, Army Crouch is pretty memey division. They have some decent infantry, but, well, they're not really top tier for a reason. I think there's a reason why they only lasted 63 days.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the V for victory, I think they're trying to psych themselves up. But starting with PTRDs and Maxims right at the middle, I mean, it makes perfect sense when you think about it. You want to go, establish a ground. Oh, look, and Volksdeutsche, my favorite.
Oh yeah, your favorite troop. So, Volksdeutsche are actually really damn good for what they are, because they do get the 2 machine guns. They've taken all the machine guns from the Ersatz trooping, so they can actually dish out quite a bit of damage as long as people don't shoot back at them.
And yeah, that's really what it is, isn't it? So you're trying to find somebody who will kind of show that they're not going to go and cause too much in the way of hassles. A little bit of damage, maybe, but you don't want to fuss them too much.
But yeah, it's a pretty steady opener from both sides, like you said, with Yuyu setting up decently with all the machine gun teams in the town. Down south, we got SS Legionaries moving in close, but there's a decent amount of CQC troops from the Pose, which will most likely stop his push.
To stop it, yes, but they're going to take some really crazy losses about that in the meantime, though, too. I guess... Actually, it's kind of curious. I didn't realize, even with the Volksdeutsche, the Germans are not going to be enjoying a numbers, let's say, benefit over here throughout the course of this particular match. Of course, I say that, and then I realize, of course, the Poles have 60-some-odd squads coming in C phase. So getting up to C phase, I think that's where the Poles are really, really hoping to go.
Yeah, I mean, both sides really do have that very beefy C-phase income, and are definitely built to rotate C-phase infantry and tank spam a little bit as well. So it seems, yeah, this initial part of the match, everyone's just happy to play it slow, play steady, take a little bit of ground here and there, but nothing too much.
Exactly. Now, I guess kind of the curious idea is that since V for Victory and Juggernaut, we don't really seem to have these very often. So, of course, as anybody can kind of see, the whole idea of V for Victory kind of pushing early, trying to make those kind of early gains, but at the same time, are they really sacrificing that much over here in Phase B? I would say no.
Yeah, the reason people usually don't take V for Victory is because Maverick's so, like, popular, because that A phase, B phase part of the match can be extremely important, especially B phase, because that's when the enemy front line isn't entirely settled, but you still have your units kind of set up as well. It's pretty much a perfect opportunity for attack. V for Victory can work pretty well if you can survive, of course, at B phase low, and usually against Maverick decks, that's not the case. You just get rocked.
Yeah, it's unsustainable. Exactly. Actually, I do have these 105s being brought over here into the center. Of course, these guys with radios, they do have a couple of opportunities over here on the front lines. 105s gives some very, very badly needed, I would say, fire support, just trying to rupture that center over here for the western side from Mimile.
He's really going to need a bit more fire support, yeah, because those machine gun teams are locking everything down, or even seeing the cheap Italian tanks being brought on in as well. Which honestly, in this town fight, all this light armor, and this Kubus, that's so happy to see the goddamn Kubus being brought out. Because it's only really Stugs from Mimile. He also has some armored cars, but it's very hit or miss in regards to armor. He doesn't have much cheap spammy stuff.
No, he does not. And frankly, looking at some of the northern and central position, though, he doesn't really seem to need it either. Because the light vehicles are enough to push back a lot of those Poles, because let's remember, most of that Polish army doesn't have long-range anti-tank. Yeah, they do have those the Flapinka, heat grenades, but other than that, not a lot.
Yeah, and the anti-tank weapons, they are being given airdropped Piat, which is a bit more of a hindrance, I think, and a gift.
I would certainly agree with you on that one. Checking back into the southern side, yes, Legionaries, actually, as you called it, they have been pushed back. In fact, they've been completely wiped out. All we have is one other squad up here in the front, and a PG standing behind it. We got a couple Ochos and Ob Kokra Kavi.
Bless you.
Exactly. That's the thing about getting a new year's, new allergies. And unfortunately, I think one of the things I'm allergic to is speaking Polish properly.
But no, you're right. He's definitely been able to clear out the southern portion. The curious thing is really decide to push far south, because this is something you see constantly on this map, where some people do decide to take the risky thing and push into the rather big, scary forest. In this case, he has an opportunity because it's only a single Panzer Grenadier holding that line. But it's the information game, it's feeling, the momentum and just where the opponent is putting on their rate. And I don't think that Yuyu's going to realize that he could push pretty heavily here.
Well, the other thing, too, is there's still an MG42. Excuse me. MG42 locks down that southern approach. And the PGs, yeah, they're there to lay down a basis fire in the first place, but you also have the MG42 that prevents anything really from a light vehicle perspective driving across that open field in the southern central position.
Yeah, he's going to need he needs reinforcements to make push. Oh, speaking of reinforcements, he's first off as a Tiger. Secondly, at 233, I think he should be kinged.
I'm pretty sure that's how that works. You're right. Unfortunately, actually, on the other side, the 17th PG doesn't get any Tigers, which I think is quite unfair, but, understandable.
He just lives the Stug life.
Oh, absolutely, living that Stug life. Volksdeutsche over here going to maybe be able to push back to some Ochos, might be able to kind of, tangle delicately with the Italian tank. And I say delicately because, Panzerfaust are scary, but they also don't really allow you to reach out and say hi very easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, slowly but surely, Yuyu is able to grind down the center position. There was the Stugs now being brought online in operation. I mind one just got blapped, yeah. It is starting to give them a decent base of fire to start halting this Polish infantry blob.
That might be the question. Is which one's going to run out first? Polish bodies or, Axis ammo? And I'm not entirely sure which way that's going to go.
Yeah, there's a lot of Polish troops you can keep on throwing in. I think it's going to come down to the Stugs in the end of the day. Also, Yuyu does have artillery advantage, having two 105s in the backline there with radio support, which is quite nice. At the same time, Mimile can also bring in some neighbor air for 42s, which can prove deadly on a map like this for a very urban town.
But not until B and C, respectively. In fact, he doesn't have any RD power until B, so he's another 2 minutes before it even becomes a whisper of an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And looking beyond that, northern side, Volksdeutsche over here going to continue to beat on one of the Ochos. There's some PRTs and something else with a lot of S's and a lot of Z's, I'm not prepared to say. Kind of behind the front lines, but these are not units to take and hold. These are units that might get lucky, I feel like.
Yeah, it's very hit or miss going up north right now, especially if those Ochonichis running afoul of that armoured car. It just seems it's going to be a bit messy here. But once again, with the northern side of this map, it's always a weird area to push because there's not a whole lot of flags to take advantage of. Really, Mimile's best, point of action is just to set up like a good defensive line along the edge of the forest so he can just shoot anything coming up into the road so he can secure the village.
True. That's very, very true. Now, when you said about the armored car kind of kicking on those poles, I did take a look back to the eastern side to see what was going on with our friend back there. He is gone, but the signs of his passing remain. Taking out 4 separate vehicles in the meantime. So, I think it's actually several infantry with a command car in there as well. So, really not too shabby at all.
Yeah, we went from PTRS rear line cheese to 233. I'm looking forward to the Panther rear line cheese later this year.
Yeah, that's certainly a potential. I was just thinking about the idea of PTRS, PTSD more than anything else. And every single time I look at an Eastern Division, I start to twitch a little bit. I think my wife started to ask me what's wrong.
It's a 14.5 mil. It gets me every time.
Exactly. The tank line was working at the the ring around the turret. Like there's something stuck in my neck. It's a crick in my neck. I swear.
It's jammed. It's jammed.
That's what happens when you get casted material here.
Mm-hmm.
Down to the southern side. Yep, one's got a PGs, and actually, I'm not sure if that MG42 was one that fell back. I think he fell back.
Yeah, into the more defensible forest position. Yeah. Yeah. Once again, there is an opportunity here for Yuyu to make a push if he wants to invest a bit more, but he doesn't have any recon. He doesn't have any eyes on, so he does not know what the hell is in that forest.
Which is very, very unfortunate for him. Because right now he's going to go into that lull. So he's up. Don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously he's up very much. Question is, can he hold on to it? Because from now, really until the end, it's going to get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, this B phase, honestly, for both divisions, will be quite slow. Mimile only a 25-point advantage, which isn't all that crazy. So I do think Yuyu's in a very good position just to hold a line. I think for Mimile, his best bet is to get some of those armor anti-tank guns to the northern forest to set up that good defensive line to deny reinforcements on that northern road.
Entirely fair. There is a packed 50 mil engaging one of the strokes in the meantime, and we actually do have our first, and only for this phase, Nebelwerfer out in the field.
Getting out early.
So here's the question then. Nebelwerfer itself, you drop this down. I know where I would put it. Where are you putting that first barrage?
Like the machine gun 37 mil position. I'm trying to like not butcher the names, but rather Shichori Mini is. That's a good position, but as of course I have gold division. I'm always picking the juiciest spots.
And see, for me, like I'm trying to theorize that I'm not with God Vision quite so much. I'm looking for their artillery. I'm looking back.
Oh, you're going for the 105s, get some counter battery.
And that's what he's looking for. That's what he's looking for. He actually even dropped short. He's actually had a really, really great kill in the meantime. Is that 75 mil going to get dropped right there, too? Ooh, that's well within the scatter.
Yeah.
That's well within the scatter. 300 mil in the meantime. So, 15, 20 seconds to go. I think we see at least a suppression. I would say potentially a very, very interesting death. Not a vital one, but an interesting one.
It's a pretty tight spread, so hopefully he does get a kill. It's only 6 HP on that gun. Oh,
it's a pretty tight spread, but the distance is actually pretty obscene.
Oh! There we go.
Yep.
That's a nice thing about rocket artillery. You don't have to hit often, you only have to hit once.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's kind of the beautiful thing about this too, isn't it? Is that it's one of those moments of you don't have to be great all the time, you just have to be great occasionally.
Yeah. That's a famous Taito saying. I only have to be lucky once. No, I know that's the Margaret Thatcher IRA thing. Never mind. I'm getting my assassinations mixed up.
I was going to say, do we really want to bring the Iron Lady into one of these things? Somewhere there's an Argentinian watcher going, I will still never forgive them for the Falklands. Now, down south, the moment I think has actually passed, you can no longer really aggressively push that western side, and I think that's a missed opportunity for Yuyu. I think he's putting some material in there now, but he's going to push up that M14, that's going to get rocked, it's going to put him right back into kind of like nervous mode. Yeah. So I think the southern side's done.
Yeah, 100%. Those two Panda Grenadiers and the MG42 off in the distance can provide a very good base of fire, and then in the armoured vehicles which try to rush up will just panzer-shregged. And it'll just take too much time, because it's not so much having a very strong defensive line down south for Mimile, it's just having a defensive line which can hold long enough for the reinforcements to come, because it is a very short reinforcement zone.
True. Now, here's the other thought that I was having. So it's kind of interesting to me to be thinking about the fact that there still are Ju-88s from Mimile that we haven't seen at all. And yes, they would require a hefty amount of investment. But, and hear me out, I'm wondering if he still throws one of those either northern side looking for that forest, or heck, even in the western side of that kind of central front line.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely, like, the open area is a good idea.
Exactly. So, I mean, like, there's a lot of ground fire, potentially. But the longer he allows the materials to work over his front lines, the harder it's going to be for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
He's not going to sneak his stuff in. Yes, sir.
No, he's just getting, like, slowly grinded down because of his superior fire support, which Yuyu has. He's got the Shrot, the Het up and running, the 105s, the aircraft, the anti-tank guns. He's managed to build a pretty good baseline. Or if you look at Mimile, it's just some Panzer Grenadiers here and there. The Stugs have gotten blapped, the Naval is alone, the IG-33s are spread out. It's not looking great for him.
Exactly. Well, there's an IG-33 being brought to the front lines. I don't know if I really like that very much, but I respect the decision. I just don't think it's a great idea.
He needs anti-tank. He needs more Stugs. He needs Pak-40s or Pak-38s. Because he needs to start knocking out that Polish armor. Because then once it's coming down to the infantry, not a whole lot of anti-tank. Oh, there's even the Tiger. I forgot the Polish Tiger. So, yeah, Yuyu's in a fantastic position in this town. And also having the 1311. He does not need to be the aggressor in this case.
No, not even remotely. Now, down at the southern side, we are going to see what's going to amount to a push probably in the next 30 or 40 seconds, as 4 reinforcement groups are being brought on forwards. And the naval warfare is actually trying to find the other artillery piece. Where's that artillery piece starting to engage? Interesting. Okay. So the artillery piece likely going to die here. Don't get me wrong. But luck twice? No, I thought we hit the luck twice on that, but it doesn't look like it.
No, he got blapped.
Oh, there we go. So in the meantime, though, doesn't change a whole lot on the front lines. So
yeah, it's gonna pay off in the long run, just knocking out the artillery guns, because the IG-33s and the anti-aircraft weaponry are gonna be, thanking their stars for no longer getting killed by indirect fire. But like you said, the frontline situation, not looking great for Mimile. It's down 15-9, and he just doesn't have a whole lot. He has a lot of Panzer Grenadiers, but these are Panzer Grenadiers without the Panzerfaust, so they're just gonna get blapped by tanks.
And Panzer Grenadier without a Panzerfaust is kind of like the Polish army. Like they're like you said, they're good, but like they're just not as good as they need to be.
You need those Panzerfaust to deal with the Panzer armor, which is panzering down the road.
Exactly. Now we do have a Flak 41 over here, an 88 mil is engaged in the Tiger. And doing it to decent effect, forcing him back. I'm actually surprised it hasn't gone down just yet. Apparently the vaunted 88 isn't really being able to hit the broadside of a barn. And down south, yep, there's those storm groups moving on in. And these guys are going to rock and sock, especially with as much material that's sitting over there in the meantime.
Yeah, go. I really do like that the deep penetration of the storm groups, just getting them right in there. And I forgot, that's a pretty awesome squad with every single submachine gun under the sun, as well as satchel charges. So they're going to get in close, they're going to do damage. But as you see, Mimile is immediately bringing out the reinforcements. This is going to be a very critical time for Yuyu, because he needs to essentially set up along like the inner or outer perimeter of the forest and get a good baseline there. If he just gets choke pointed where the Panzer Grenadier is, it's going to be over for that push.
I don't think that Panzer Grenadier is going to be able to hold as long as he needs to.
No. Those two guys.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an Alamo moment right there. Nebelwerfer is desperately trying to consistently fire. He's looking to hit the Tiger. He does take out an anti-tank position, but not quite enough. Actually, 33 is trying to support fire over here too? No.
Oh, the IG-33 getting like blapped from the IL-2 recon plane. I forgot how much damage that thing can do on the ground runs, yeah, and without much anti-air to stop him.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not looking great. I mean, oh god, it's a 19-5 now. It's collapsing quickly, Khan.
But that's kind of what you expect. I think it's one of those things. You look at the Poles, and again, the Poles don't have long staying power, but if you misplate early, they're going to make you pay. Forget the fact that it's going to be V for victory. Forget the fact that Yuyu has been playing this really, really well. Although, I would hesitate to say that he may have been slightly helped out by the fact that I think Mimile is a little bit tentative in the central-south position. Yeah. Yes, his materials are lighter. He doesn't get the Tiger and this and that. But light vehicles in that center-south puts a lot of pressure into that town, controls a lot of the arteries, center, and the southern side. I think there's a missed opportunity there.
Yeah, it just hasn't been able to really trade effectively, especially in the anti-armor game, because the Poles get some very nice tanks. Tigers, Hetchers, or I should say Tiger, Hetcher, some Panthers here and there, but they don't get many tanks. So if you can trade effectively with them, the Poles run out of armor, effective armor that is, and then with the Stug 4 spam, you can start, getting the advantage. But he has not been able to do that, and you're seeing he's pretty much paying the price for that now, because the Tiger, the Hetcher, even a lot of the Italian light tanks are still going strong.
It is weird to see an M14 run for longer than 30 seconds.
Yeah, not in the opposite direction.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I want to see this IL-2. Who's making runs at 233. Okay. And then before I believe is going to bite the farm. Yes, he does. So, yeah, things are not looking good.
Yes, that air power play was absolutely on point, and yeah, Mimile, it's pretty much GG for him at this point.
I think there's ×2 perhaps in a couple of seconds. You call the ball.
Do 21-15.
Sure. So what we're kind of consistently seeing here, though, too, is just the application of firepower that's actually quite terrifying from the Polish. And, actually, one thing I do want to blame, don't open with the Volksdeutsche. Really? I cannot stress this enough. No, I mean, I truly do feel like that was part of the issue.
I think it's more fire support. I think the Volksdeutsche would have been fine, because they do have decent fire support. It's just, you needed some, more armoured cars or something a bit beefier to support them, because they're good at holding the ground for a cheap price. It's just, if they're by themselves, yeah, they're terrible. Not terrible, but not great.
To hold the ground, you actually have to take the ground, and that's not exactly what you're going to be doing with the Volksdeutsche. And I guess that's kind of always my point, that anything that's a disheartened troop, yes, you stick him in a place and you sit him down and you put an officer behind him and you put some sort of, morale support, fantastic. But you throw them in on their own, and what do you expect them to do? They're going to go and fall apart
Yeah, by themselves they're pretty bad.
Maybe
if he had SS Legionaries in the center to actually do some aggressive actions like he did down south in the opener, probably would have been a bit better, especially with the Legionaries, because those guys slap.
True.
Oh damn, KD, yeah, that's a double, almost.
So I'm going to call them Cobras, the Cobras over here, doing pretty well. Travinsky, the Schwat doing decently well enough. I mean, and this is what it is. This is the victory of the Polish fighting spirit. They don't need winged hussars to be successful, is what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, and then losses. Oh, the 233 in the rear. He did a decent amount of damage there, sabotaging the saboteurs before they could sabotage him.
And picked up an Armata as well on the way. The only other guy to really do anything of note in my mind is Fehrenbach over here with the Nebelwerfer.
Yep.
Picking up a 4-pack.
Yeah, got some good picks.
But I would say it's a fairly open and shut. I mean, V for Victory has certainly helped out with the polls today. I think he was certainly helped out by some other material, but well done.
Yeah, it's honestly nice to see Polish Home Army win, because they're a pretty bad division, so it's good to see it get the dub.
So, folks, unless my esteemed colleague over here has anything else to add, as he's become several weeks older with this passing of this new year, I dare say that we are all done for today. And wonderful to have you guys all back. The best wish for 2023 with all of you. Of course, we have many more replays and casts to come. And until next time, I'm Con Ulrich.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.